What's up, everybody? We are back at Around the Mat Pod. It is a beautiful time to be a wrestling fan. A lot of things happening, and we hope you're joining us tonight live on YouTube for the first time. Hit that like and subscribe button and let us know in the comments, because I got the chat window open. The chat bleachers, as we call them, are open, so let us know if you're watching or listening on iTunes or Spotify day after. Let us know with a review. Let us know in the comments on those what you think of the podcast, what your thoughts are on the wrestling landscape and what we're talking about. We love to engage. And also follow us along on all social media platforms. It is at AroundTheMatPod. TikTok, Facebook, Twitter is where we're most active. Instagram, we're second most active there. So make sure you follow us and let us know that you dig the show, or if you hate the show or whatever. We want to know. Engage with us. And welcome to our first show live on YouTube. Very exciting stuff. And to get into it, bringing the boy back, it is young T.Y. Tyler Miller, what's good, baby?
PJ, glad to join you on the tube, man. And we are hitting the road to WrestleMania at about 150 miles an hour.
Yeah, that train ran off the rails, dog. We were on the train to WrestleMania, and it went right off the rails.
Yeah, I mean, Revolution coming up, that's going to be big. So, of course, it's an exciting time, man.
We have so much to talk about today, and we're going to talk all about it. Before we get super into it, I want to talk a little. Me and you were just talking offline about figs, man, and figure collectors. And you mentioned you're obviously not a super huge collector, but I am a collector of things that I really like. So, like, I'll collect, like, here and there. I don't have, like, collections that are, like, from beginning to end for really anything. Just stuff that I like. And today, Mattel Creations was like, oh, by the way, here, you can drop and buy these immediately. So I had to cop that new Dusty and Cody 2-pack of the Superstar versions, which I really like. They're kind of like Remco style. But I saw that Mattel posted them, and it said the Rhodes Warriors. And I popped at that. I thought that was so funny. Obviously, what's your wrestling collection? You've got some stuff behind you, but is there anything you collect? Obviously, you got some repro stuff. We talked about the Matt Botfin drop that came out this week. What are your collection things in the wrestling world?
I would definitely say T-shirts for sure. I mean, my closet is completely filled with wrestling shirts. I'm trying to steer away from black T-shirts now because I got a dog and you just see dog hair
everywhere.
And I'm also trying to, like, venture out. I recently started picking up a lot of the I Was There pins at a lot of the big events. I'm starting to get a lot of miscellaneous stuff, like the little stuffed animal things, the little
just like different
replica
stuff.
helmets.
Okay.
Yeah, a bunch of different stuff, more so for display than
yeah.
just in a closet, when I'm not wearing it.
Hell yeah. Speaking of T-shirts, shout out to all the vintage sellers out there and the repro guys, man, because the repro guys are doing it way cooler. I would say take heed of some of the stuff you see, because, I mean, there's some great blanks out there to print from. If I could say one thing about wrestling tees, that's it. It's like, how can we get back to those old style shirts, because those have somehow held up? Where can we get the jersey blanks, because that's what we need in the biz. I'm obviously a T-shirt collector as well. I'm a huge I see so many dope ones right out there, and I obviously want to get all of them. And so I'm kind of like, damn, I wish I could get all those. But shout out to the designers too, man. There's so many great designers out there doing a lot of cool shit too. But Matt Botvin and those guys. Who else? What's the Stash Pages? He's got a great one. Mid-card merch is a cool one.
That's one of my favorite parts about going to an event, is just seeing all the cool T-shirts, jackets, hats. I mean, everything.
Dude, wrestling. Shout out to Wrestling for Sale. He does that thing every year at Mania, right? Which is a huge collection of stuff that he puts out there, and it's so sick. Everything he has is just hammers after hammers of stuff.
And brings wrestling fans together, man. That's where I met you at last year.
That's what I'm saying. Crazy to think about, like, Ted over at Wrestling for Sale doing the Lord's work. And it's also 30 days of wrestling tees this month. March is a big month to do that, which is cool. If you're following along at Around the Mat Pod on Instagram, as some people know, during my music career, like that was part of my gimmick, quote unquote. I would on stage wear a different pair of Jordans and a different wrestling tee for every show. And we are 6 days in, and I've posted 6 different shows from kind of when I started. That started in like later 2019, when I was really doing the wrestling tee specific thing. And yeah, man, I got so many shirts and stuff from those. So it's kind of cool to see also other people's, because hashtag 30 days of wrestling tees is cool just to see like everything that everybody else has been posting. But yeah, man, good stuff. Hey, shout out to Jeff Miller. Shout out to Jeff also, by the way, for winning the pool party last week. Just crushed him, hit him with like 47 points in Juice's. Shout out to the wrestling, to the Juice box. Juice Springsteen's got a pool party gaming thing that he does for the bigger events so far. I guess he's done it for the past 2 so far with pool party gaming. This is not an ad. I just enjoyed it. It was dope, and I saw it. I saw your brother won, so shout out to that. And if you guys are watching, like I said, let us know in the comments. A couple viewers today, so thank you. We're gonna get into it though, man. It is hey, take that $75 and run with it, Jeff. You could have bought that Fourth Rope shirt that I'm looking for. Shout out to this new vintage seller I just met today. I don't know their actual name, but he goes by what is it? Keep It Classic Las Vegas. It's Keep It Classic LV. Shout out to them on Instagram. He's got a Fourth Rope t-shirt, West Side Gun and all those guys, that whole Fourth Rope thing. There's just so much cool shit in wrestling right now, man. I'm so glad it's popping, dude. It's just like the best.
They have their own promotion, don't they? The Fourth Rope.
He's doing like his own thing. I think he's booked one show, and he's like kind of doing something a little different, and it's unique, man. We're gonna talk all about that too, because there's just like so many things going on in wrestling too, about wrestling all week long. But as we get into the headlines, the biggest headline today, I would say, is the Hall of Fame shaping up. Today they announced that the Natural Disasters will go into the Hall of Fame alongside Michelle McCool and Triple H. Obviously, you probably didn't see the Natural Disasters. I was a fan back then. I was watching. I watched them after that. I actually enjoyed Earthquake. I wish he beat Hulk Hogan at SummerSlam, but it didn't happen. So I think it's cool. I'm glad that they're going in. What are your thoughts? Any thoughts on the Hall of Fame as a whole? What do you think of the WWE Hall of Fame? Do you think they're going to announce anybody else?
I would definitely think that they would do more than because they've announced Triple H, Michelle McCool, and then Natural Disasters.
Yeah, so basically 4 people.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think the Hall of Fame until they do something physical, I don't feel like it means that much. You get a ring and a plaque.
I really wish they'd do something. I can't believe they haven't done something physical.
Yeah, and I mean the WWE World. I'm not sure if you went to that last year in Philly. That was awesome. You know, I feel like that's
the problem is I wish that they could do that all year round, like in some sort of place. And the World's awesome, but it was also expensive to go in for a single day.
Yeah, absolutely. But I feel like that's the closest thing we have to a physical Hall of Fame right now. And I feel like now that they've kind of established their what feels like home base down in Orlando, why not?
Right.
You know, there's so much other stuff around there. Why not put that, as another attraction?
I agree. I think, and I agree. Shout out to Jeff too. Luger does need it. I just had this conversation with a buddy of mine at lunch today. 1, will Luger walk? 2, will Luger get in? I think he does get in. I don't see why he wouldn't be. As far as like his WWE run, it was the shits, but like everything else he did was really great up until the end of WCW, and then obviously the thing with Elizabeth, which he's owned up to, and as having a part, they were both abusers of drugs and alcohol and things. So I don't see why they wouldn't have him in. I don't know. That would be
especially good, not to discredit the Natural Disasters by any means, but you're gonna put some guys like that in and not have Luger, who was at one time a super big draw for them.
1,000%.
At least that's what they
won a Royal Rumble, technically.
Yeah. So I think he deserves it over the Natural Disasters, in my opinion.
Do you think it's weird that WWE puts people in as their gimmick and not them as a person?
I think it's kind of think it just depends on the situation, honestly. I don't
See,
know. I
that's
feel
my
like the
problem.
gimmick, yeah,
That's
it's
my issue,
tricky.
man. They made that gimmick, yes, but they also wrestled. Like, look at Barry Darsow, right? Barry Darsow, I think, is in with Demolition, right? Demolition went in last year. No, when did they go in? Was it last year?
A
They've been in for
couple
either way.
years
I
ago.
feel like they've been in, right? So Demolition's a perfect example. Barry Darsow played Crusher Khrushchev. He played the Repo Man. He played Smash. He played all of these things, and he's only in his Smash. Like, that seems, it's just, it's very similar to the Great Muta thing for me. The Great Muta is Keiji Muto, like that. He's so much more than the Great Muta. Obviously, the Great Muta is what he's known for in WCW and his run in New Japan. But like, he's also Keiji Muto in All Japan and in Wrestle One and like all. And I'm just like, that's kind of weird because now we'll never get a non-face painted Muta figure. Not that I'm using this as a specific example because obviously I'm close to it, but you know what I mean? Like, it's a little strange. I always thought like we should be inducting the man because then this is another thing. The Natural Disasters is Typhoon. Okay, are they gonna mention that he was also Tugboat? Because like that's the same character, just different outfit. Like, are they gonna introduce? Are they gonna talk about the Shockmaster? It's very interesting with the Hall of Fame thing. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that because I mean, you look at some of those guys and if you can hold a shitty gimmick and make it work for a little while or at least stick around for the time being to get through it, to get onto that other side to potentially have a Hall of Fame career, I feel like that definitely deserves to be acknowledged for sure.
That's kind of where I'm at with it, man. I don't know. It's very strange, but to say the least. So the Hall of Fame shaping up, but that's a interesting take. I just realized too, my clock is not. Where's my countdown timer? Oh, there it is. See my time. We've introduced some new things here on YouTube. A little different here on the YouTube, and I somehow messed up the a few different things. But we are back. I've got it figured out. Okay. Second headline as I start the clock here. What about WWE 2K25 coming out today? Tonight, if you pre-ordered 2K25 coming out tonight. The reason I wanted to talk about this, obviously, around the mat, I am a huge 2K fan. I played NBA 2K. I think that they have the best creation suite in NBA 2K because it allows me to do a college basketball version. I've got a fictional college basketball version that I do. I've got a European I love it. I think that's the best thing about it. Because, yes, the NBA is awesome. But I like to do all this other stuff. I'm super submersive in it. I'm in it for that time. I enjoy that part of it. WWE 2K has been that way as well, man. The content creators, not wrestling video content creators, not these. No offense, dog. Y'all are cornballs. I'm just saying. I get it that y'all are on there. It's just not as cool as the call guys. The guys who are doing these creator wrestlers on there is super awesome. The people that they invited to the content creator thing, I thought was whatever. I don't even know any of those people. But the people who are doing these creator wrestlers is so the stuff that they do is awesome. And I'm very, very sorry. Did you say the sound cut out? Oh, that might be me. Sorry about that. The content creators, the creator. Thank you, Jeff. Sorry about that. The creator wrestlers, I think, are very I don't know, man. I'm just 2K25 was going to be awesome, and then I saw a lot of the stuff that they ruined, and so that's why I wanted to ask you. I'll give my opinion about 2K25, but have you seen any of it? Are you going to pre-order it or anything?
I haven't pre-ordered it yet. I'm definitely going to be, definitely on it hard when it comes out for sure. Definitely something. The creator wrestler thing over the past few years, I mean, it's amazing. And I don't know how much time that these people are spending on it.
I know, dude, wild.
But I mean, it is, and I don't know, because I've never done it. I've never looked into, how to do it.
Sure.
But these guys are doing some crazy shit, as far as customizing stuff. And I mean, the little stunt crew, that is around in our local area. I mean, those guys, they do deathmatch wrestling. They're even on it. And I'm just this is insane.
It's crazy.
So I'm excited for it.
That's the problem then. So I'm glad that you said that because with 2K25, they have now it's always been 1,000 image limits. that's the one thing I don't like about the online, is that they have too many images sometimes on the wrestlers that they focus on, that like, if you put an image, no offense, but like, I don't need the nipple image like on the wrestler that I'm downloading from Community Creations. Like, you don't have to add, the nipple's not a part of it. It's not making it look any more realistic. The ab thing, like, you guys, I just feel like I hate that. So like, I do think that they overuse the image function, and like, that's why most, like, if you, sometimes I'll have like I won't even have a full set of download slots, and I'll be out of images because like there's too many on some of the stuff I download. So all that to say, on 2K25, what I've now found out is that all this stuff that's on the island is not on the game. It's only on the island thing. And so part of NBA 2K is the city. I don't play the city. I don't care about it. Gimmick nips, that's funny. I don't care about the city. I just don't get it. And so I don't know if I'm going to buy 2K25, man. I do like that the GM is online. You can do my GM online with your friends. That's pretty cool. But if I'm going to do all this work to get these Jordans on my island and then not be able to use them on the other stuff, that's lame as shit, dude. And that's such microtransaction bullshit from 2K, man. Ronnie 2K, I hope you hear this. I'm a huge Ronnie 2K fan, but this shit is bullshit, okay?
I feel like that's what 2K's turned into over the past. I haven't bought an NBA 2K in probably at least 4 or 5 years, and I feel like that, just hearing from friends that's all it is now is, who's going to be willing to spend the most money
and I'm
to
not
maximize your, you're playing, playing the whole game. And you just have to spend tons of money, and it's like you already spend, if you want to play it early, it's like $150 on the game.
Dude, it's $130 for the Bloodline edition right now for WWE 2K.
How much how much money you want,
And so like I'm the same way with MLB The Show. I don't care about Diamond Dynasty. I know that's a lot of people's thing. That's not my thing. I do follow this guy who does like no money spend, and then plays the Diamond Dynasty, which is cool. My point being is that the microtransaction thing, I understand it from a business standpoint. What I don't understand is from a business standpoint, are there not enough? Here's how I know that Community Creations is the pillar of WWE 2K. Because there's like 73,000 fucking pages, dog, to go through. Okay? You can't sit here and tell me that y'all don't have enough users doing this. Like, I know that this is a pillar of the game. And so I'm very upset about that. So I don't know if I'm going to buy it, man. I may wait till it goes on sale or something. I didn't buy 20. 20 was another one that I didn't buy because I heard all the glitch. Everybody was like, yo, this is, the game's trash. Like, all that stuff. Like, nobody's buying. So I'm like, I may stay away from this one and just kick it on 2K24, man, which if y'all know, like I said, I'm like super immersed in, I said submersive earlier. I meant immersed. I am immersed in my universe mode, man. Right now I've got like a 1993 WCW going. It's pretty lit, awesome. Honestly, man. I got the Hollywood Blondes and Vader, Sting, Too Cold Scorpio, who's one of my favorite wrestlers growing up. So like, it's pretty lit. I'm pretty excited about it.
Yeah, and you definitely got to put a lot of time into that.
Yeah, and it's like if you dig
I've tried it.
Yeah, I get it. The other thing is on 2K25 too is also the stuff that they've added in universe mode. They've added the cutscenes back in, like promos and stuff, but there's no subtitles or anything, which is cool because that allows us creators to like do a voiceover or do subtitles of what you actually want it to say rather than what was on the game, which is, I think, cool. The only problem is I don't know if that's going to make me want to buy the game if all the stuff's already glitching. I heard that the Sherry Martel thing, Scary Sherry, is already glitched. That's a game. That's a person y'all put in the game, not us. That's not even a content creator. Yeah. So frustrating. So I don't know, man. There's some things that I would fix before I would have done the island thing, but more power to them if they want to make more money off it. Obviously, now's the time to capitalize, right? WWE's as hot as it's going to be, so I get it. It is.
I'm hoping they fix the online play because that's something that I was super big into, and it's terrible. It is terrible. You a one-on-one match you might be able to get through it, but you put a couple people in there, the tag match, anything above that, I mean, you're glitching out probably about 75% of the time.
Are you a PS5 guy or Xbox guy?
Xbox.
Okay, well, That's probably why too. Just kidding. Honestly, dude, their servers are hot garbage. I get kicked off the community creation server like every probably 2 or 3 downloads. I get kicked off and I have to go out to the main menu and then go back in. It's a pain in the ass. All right, so if you're listening, Ronnie 2K, help a brother out, man. Look, I work in IT. I can help you out, dog. Call me up. We can make it happen. All right, last headline, I should say, before we really get into the thick of this thing is WWE is on almost every night of the week. And that's kind of what I want to talk about. Last night they announced Evolve on Wednesdays now on Tubi. Not announced it, but they actually had the first episode. They're on TNA, so I'm counting it as WWE on Thursdays. They're on TNA. They have WWE wrestlers on TNA. So you're talking about Monday Night Raw, Tuesday night NXT, Wednesday night Evolve, Thursday night TNA, Friday night SmackDown, Saturday PLE, Sunday Superstars on A&E. If you look, I'm gonna just if you can't find a single thing in that you like, I promise you, wrestling will never be for you, and that's okay. But I will also say it's a lot of WWE everywhere, and not all of it is great. And they got to be stretching writers and things thin, I got to believe. So at some point, some of that stuff suffers. It's very similar to WCW, right? Like when they opened Thunder, it's like, y'all already couldn't write for a 3-hour show. Now you added 2 more hours. I'm not saying that the same thing's going to happen to WWE. I'm just like, there's things like that. Like something will probably suffer from this. However, Evolve is pre-taped, it looks like. I thought it was pretty interesting. I enjoyed the mix of like indie ID wrestlers that they had, the WWE ID people, and NXT people. I obviously watched it after I watched Dynamite, which we'll talk all about AEW shortly, but it's a lot of WWE, man. What's your take on all things out there in the wrestling space like that?
I mean, honestly, as a fan, you couldn't ask for more. I mean, like it's on every single night of the week. I personally actually just canceled cable and have been exploring other options as far as watching different stuff. And I actually found my Samsung TV actually has a WWE channel on it with just cycles through. I mean, it's straight WWE, and I'm like, dude, this is awesome. So
wait, is this on what channel? It's on literally just on Samsung? It's just WWE?
Yeah. It's called like it's like Samsung Free TV, and I mean there's a ton of different channels.
There's just a WWE channel on it. There is a TNA channel on the Roku. So if you have a Roku, there's a TNA channel. And so like I'm sure it's very similar to that. I didn't know Samsung had this. This is incredible.
Yeah, dude, it's a lot of it is mostly the A&E stuff.
Okay.
That comes on A&E, but
sure.
I'm like, dude, I haven't watched a lot of that. And you know, it's a lot of interesting stuff and a lot of footage that I haven't seen.
Sure.
Because they are wanting to put out new shows and put out new stuff about new rivalries and superstars that we haven't seen.
Sure.
But dude, I love it, man. You can't get away from wrestling. And
really
as a fan, you know, like that's all. And in most of it, you know, like you said, there is some bad, but I feel like most of it right now is pretty damn good.
Yeah, I agree. There's so much good out there. Like that's what I'm saying. If you can't find something that you like, it's just never gonna be for you. So shout out to that. And that's kind of just like what I said. Why I'm bringing it up is like wrestling is for everyone, and there's something for everyone. That's why I don't quite understand the disdain going on online between like. You know, I saw JD. This is a perfect example. JD from Jerk Off City is on Twitter yesterday. Has there ever been less of a reason to watch AEW Dynamite? And it's like, bro, you go sit there and watch it. So shut up. I can understand if you're talking about something you don't like, watching something that you do like. That's fine. It's not every segment has to be for you. But to just constantly shit on something and then still watch it is baffling to me. Okay, I skip through Wyatt's 6 segments because I think it's Wyatt sucks. Okay, I do not enjoy it. So when they're on my TV, I do fast forward through it. I don't sit there and hate watch it. It's not for me. And I just don't understand that like logic. There's so many people online, just like the discourse online for some of this stuff is crazy to me. How it happens. And I don't know, man. That's really why my whole point is like wrestling is for everybody. There's something out there for everybody. If you're one of those people who watches everything, man, you got to stay off the internet, dog. Go outside. do touch grass or something, as they say. I don't know. Very interesting, to say the very least. Those are the headlines. A lot of things happening, obviously. We're going to get into a lot of it. So let's talk about it, man. The Chamber fallout, Elimination Chamber. What?
True.
The hits didn't stop coming either, man. It was Saturday hammer and then Monday hammer. And you're just like, oh, shit. I would say the pay-per-view is 10 out of 10. Even with the Tiffy, Trish, Nia match, I still think it was 10 out of 10 pay-per-view. And I think that was just like, it was nostalgic, obviously always nostalgic to see Trish. She's incredible. She looks incredible. She still can wrestle. Tiffy is amazing. So is Nia in God, I can't even remember her name now. I'm losing my mind. You know who I'm talking about. What's her name? Johnny Gargano's wife.
Candice LeRae.
Thank you. God, Mrs.
I was losing it there for a second
Holy
myself.
Man, sorry, Candice. I apologize. My point being is that I thought it was 10 out of 10 pay-per-view. And then they hit us with maybe the second. Look, I'm going to go down. It's the second greatest swerve of all time. Hogan's will always be number one if you were alive during that era. If you were not alive during that era or you didn't watch, this is the number one swerve of all time. It doesn't matter. Even if you watch historically, if you weren't alive during it and actively watching wrestling then, the NWO did not have the same impact. And I will say that part of it. If you are a fan, this is, like, if you are just a fan now or in the last 20 years, 25 years, whatever, then this is the greatest swerve of all time with John Cena. Even if, like, I saw a lot of people talk about, I know Juice Springsteen mentioned it. He was like I follow him on Twitter and he's super awesome on Twitter. He was like, if they do this, then it really is industry changing. And then sure enough, I was like, holy shit, what a time. Let's just talk about Chamber first, man. What were your thoughts on Chamber overall? Just starting there.
I'd have to agree with you, man. That's a 10 to 10 pay-per-view. The Tiffany and Trish thing, it was okay. It wasn't great. I feel like, sometimes pay-per-views just have or PLEs just have those types of matches.
Sure.
It was definitely nice and I also feel like it was the only thing that I felt was kind of 100% sure. Nobody really knew who was going to win the Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, or the women's or men's chamber. So I feel like you kind of got to have one that's kind of predictable. The Sami Zayn Kevin Owens match, I felt like that was not a WWE match. I did not feel like they were wrestling in WWE. It felt more of an AEW style, Ring of Honor, indie type feel for me.
Yeah.
Which was awesome. So and I feel like I really wasn't, excited. Like I mentioned last week, I wasn't excited for another Sami Zayn Kevin Owens match, but they delivered in a big way.
I asked this in the chat too, and we'll talk specifically about that match. Do you think that neither one of them bleeding took away from it being a unsanctioned match?
I do a little bit. I mean, like I mentioned last week, it didn't have to be buckets of blood or anything like that,
Sure.
like we've seen in previous unsanctioned match, whether it's WWE or AEW. But at the same time, I feel like to live up to that type of a match, to really get that feel, with the build they had up to it, I feel like you got to have a little something. I mean, even whether it's the hard way or you got to blade a little bit,
something.
I feel like it should be there. Yeah.
I do think that was the only qualm about it, is that I'm surprised that I'm not that they did save the blood. A lot of people said that too, Jeff, that they saved the blood spot for Cody. And that's fair. And it's funny. Fred said the exact same thing. He's like, I got the blood out of the Cody segment, so I didn't need it there. I don't think that they in my opinion, I didn't see how they correlated. It's like whatever, but we watch so much AEW, right? I watch so much AEW or GCW and clips online. It's like, I don't know, I may be immune to the blood thing. I don't really ever need it. I just felt like that match might have needed it. The other point is, I can't believe Sammy ate that L again. I feel
like it's hard either way, though, because I feel like both of them have been taking huge L's, and I feel like neither one of them could really afford it, but I feel like they both also
I wish they would have knocked each other.
Well.
I wish they would have knocked each other out, and that would have been it. And they would have done a 10-count draw.
Yeah, that would have been good.
I just wish that, like, because I just don't think, I don't know, man. It's just like Sammy's always going to eat that L. Like, that just sucks, man, because he's so good. But the
Well,
match
and
was great.
to kind of touch on what you were saying that Fred was mentioning about the blood spot, I personally feel like it was more warranted for the Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens match more because bad blood was already there. It's been there for years.
Right.
And I mean, you just had one of the biggest moments in WWE history. I mean, I don't think the blood was absolutely needed for that segment.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense. That's fair. I think The Rock and Cody had the blood spot earlier where he beat him up outside of the bus, and I think that's kind of what they were calling back to, maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, either, and we'll talk obviously more about that. We'll get into it. What about the Bianca? What did you think about the women's elimination chamber?
I liked how Jade came out at the beginning. That was a pretty cool swerve, especially, thinking she's going straight for Liv and then
Yeah,
attacks
I
Naomi.
texted it as she's walking down there. As they started playing her music, I was like, she's about to attack Naomi. That was kind of a swerve that I saw coming because they've been so adamant about saying it wasn't me. It wasn't me. It's like very Rock
Right.
Rikishi situation thing, right? Where it's like, okay, it's on the nose. I've seen this before. I know this story. This is what's definitely going to happen. And I'm glad that it did because sometimes I like it to happen the way I think it should, right? It's like, not that
Yeah.
I feel like a smart mark. I enjoy it to go, a way that makes sense to me at the time. Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but the Jade thing was
No,
awesome.
no,
Yeah.
but other than that, man, I feel like the women's chamber, it was okay for me. It didn't of course with a bunch of other stuff that happened, it didn't steal the show, and I don't think it would without those things happening, but I feel like it was just an okay match. I don't feel like, of course, I mentioned something to you about Rhea or what's her name, Bianca winning, and
Yeah.
I see. Of course, we thought she was going to fight Rhea, and then of course we saw that changed on Monday.
Yeah.
So I don't know where they go from here.
The chamber fallout is real. One note about the women's, elimination chamber for me. Liv has been, say what we want about everybody else and Rhea and all. Liv has delivered since she's come back from injury last year. So 12 months, I guess it has been now, almost 12 months. It'll be 12 months soon. She has delivered. She is leaps and bounds better. She has jumped over a lot of people. To going from just like kind of like not a mid-carder, but just like not like the upper tier of the women's to the absolute star of that group. Like she made that match for me. Bianca's that whip, holy damn, dude, that whip of the hair on top of that was absolutely bonkers, dude.
Gotta hurt.
It sounded
Man.
like a shotgun going off. I just really think that Liv is absolutely crushing it. And I hate, like, she has that like hateable thing, the laugh, the giant smile, like she's doing it mockingly.
Dude, I love the laugh, man.
Do
I
you?
crack
Oh
up.
man, I
Like,
hate
I
it
love
so.
it,
I
man.
hate it so
Kind of
much.
like Rollins. It's kind of like Rollins'
that's
laugh
fair.
for me.
That's fair. So yeah, overall, like I said, I just think I thought it was a great. I actually did think it. I thought it was. If you didn't have the men's being the way who was in it, I think it definitely would have stole the show. You're just up against like, but I definitely thought it was the second best match of the night, hands down. I mean, out of the four, I thought it was second best. I just thought it was really, really good. I liked the way they did it. I'm surprised that Bianca won. I did pick Alexa just because, like, what are they gonna do with her? Like now, like,
Yeah.
she hasn't been on TV. She's not. The Wyatt Six thing sucks. What are they gonna do? So I really thought like she was gonna win, honestly, but. I'm glad that Bianca did because we got that. So then, obviously, and while we're still on this, Raw, Rhea loses to Io. Like, I did not see. I'm watching and I'm like, damn, this match is another banger. The way Bianca got involved, I thought was kind of dumb. I hate when they do that thing. I'd rather her be on commentary the whole time rather than just like sitting watching. That seems so awkward to me. But that was an incredible match. And then Rhea losing, literally, I was like, what just transpired on a Monday Night Raw? What is happening? It was incredible. I thought it was really, really good. What were your thoughts on that?
Oh, it was a big shock for me. I'm pretty sure I fell asleep and then woke up and scrolling through
Dude,
this. I'm
half
like,
the group chat was
no way.
asleep. Half the group chat's not watching live anymore, right at that point. They're like, Rhea's going to win, blah, 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 blah. And I'm watching and I'm like, and then it happened and I was like, holy Shit, that's crazy. I can't believe they did
And that's kind of one of the reasons why I was a little tuned out looking at my phone, whatever it was, because I'm like, Rhea's got this in the bag and they're
Right.
just hyping it up for
Sure.
a title match on Raw. But then
Yeah.
I woke up and I saw that and I'm like, dude, what the hell is this, man?
Yeah, dude.
But
Crazy.
it's a nice surprise.
I did. I enjoyed it, and I thought that was a great part of Raw. That was just great. So that's kind of continue into the women's thing. So moving from the women's thing into the men's elimination chamber now. I'll be honest with you, man. I am so over Logan Paul. I am to the point now where I'm like, all right, cool. He's good in ring. Great. He just does, like, now it's like he takes away from the show for me. Like, I just don't get it. I don't know, man. That was like the one part where I was like, I could do without him being in this match. If we had anybody else, I'd be cool. Like, they could have put literally anyone else in there. I would have felt good about it.
I don't know. I feel like with Logan Paul, I feel like he's definitely got, everybody knows he's got his in-ring game, pretty damn.
Yeah, he's an athlete for sure. Yeah.
But the everything else, I feel like he's either got to really work on, or people just aren't going to get it, or just have already felt that way about him. Like
Sure.
it's just that go away.
Yeah.
We don't want to see you. We don't want nothing to do with you over here.
Sure.
But I feel like, we'll find out probably pretty quickly after he's there. I know he's been around for a little while, but after he's there for a few more years, we'll really see how it turns out. If he puts in the work, gets the practice, and really develops.
I think that's the thing. We're going to find out if he really wants to do this thing or not, right? We're going to really find out. So that's where I'm at mentally. I'm like, we're going to see where he's really at. Other than that, what did you think of the match overall? I enjoyed the finish. I thought it was a good way to do it. I thought it obviously led into Raw perfectly, which we'll talk about. But I liked John Cena winning. I thought it made the most sense. What about you?
I agree, man. I think the whole chamber match as a whole, I feel like there was a lot of storytelling in there tied together, not just with two individuals in a rivalry. I think It was kind of you have Damian Priest in there. He was
could have done
kind of
without
an
him
oddball
too.
a little bit.
we could have done without him too. He struggled on the mic Friday on SmackDown, talking. Him and Logan both got cooked. They were terrible. And so yeah, he just kind of felt like the odd man out, right?
Yeah, and I feel like, but other than that, it was a great chamber match. I feel like with some of the things that they did, especially with Rollins and Punk, you further that story within a big match, and the road to WrestleMania. You always want to be able to tell the really good stories and build and continue building. Hopefully, nobody gets injured.
Right.
But I think Cena winning, and of course, what came next was probably the right thing to do. Not necessarily what came next, but Cena winning.
I was real happy that Punk didn't win.
Yeah, absolutely, I was.
I will say, I don't know where they're going with Punk, but he's not headlining Mania at this point. It doesn't seem like. But yeah, man, I enjoyed that. I thought the curb stomp was interesting to continue that storyline, because I think that their match at Raw in LA was probably too soon, because there's just so much in that feud, right? There's so much going on. And yeah, the way it led into the main part. So before we get to the main part, right, with Cena, the Punk Rollins thing on Monday was unbelievable. That was the best Punk promo I've seen in years, hands down.
Yeah. My brother texted me, and even as somebody who cannot stand CM Punk, I was like, man, that was good. I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed that one.
I thought it was just so well done. I was like, damn, he gets it, dog. Like, hell yeah, this is great. So I did enjoy that. And I thought Monday was awesome, and now they're going to fight in a cage this next Monday. I'm like, damn, what the hell are we doing? We're just giving this away on Raw. You love to see it. Because as a fan, I think that, like, that's what Raw used to be. We're not on pay-per-view anymore. So now everything is a PL. There is no paid anything. The events are everything is an event. So it's like, that's where I'm like, this is great. I don't care where they do it. Let's just put a big match every week. Should just be massive spot. And then everybody can complain about giving it away like they do with AEW. You know what I mean? I'm like, see, now you motherfuckers get it. So Seth and I don't know where we're going with that. And I don't know where Drew's going for Mania. I definitely don't know where Priest is going for Mania. Honestly, like,
Do you think this is it for Rollins and Punk after this cage match, or do you think they can continue on with that?
I think it's going to happen I think they're going to do something at Mania.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. I wouldn't see why not, but we'll find out, I guess. All right, and then obviously let's talk about it. John Cena turns heel, and Travis Scott is there. A lot of people are you have a lot of different things. I think there's two different ways to view it. Hey, celebrities bring eyes to the sport. Showing that backstage segment with him and Triple H, have you seen this?
I did. Yeah, that was kind of cool.
So I think showing that adds some realness to it for Travis Scott, because before you're just like, I don't love celebrities who don't like wrestling being involved because they don't look like they belong. They don't look like they want to be there, right? Like, I want guys like Adam Pac-Man Jones who want to get in the ring when they're not supposed to. Like Bad Bunny, who's like, yo, I told him to put me through a table. Tell my management to suck it. Like, that's like, if I want a celebrity there to bring, like, let's do that. And so I at first I was like, all right, Travis Scott's here, I guess, whatever. But like I mentioned at the beginning of this, the greatest swerve of our generation, if you just started, if you've only watched wrestling since the 2000s, it's the greatest swerve to ever happen, hands down. It'll still always be the second biggest to me because I think the Hogan thing, but the way they did it was so awesome. And Cena, man, he's really chopping it up, right? Because Cody's like, go yourself. I'm like, hell yeah. And Cena's chopping it up. And then next thing you know, he takes him out. I was like, damn, they got me. Obviously, I saw it as an option. It wasn't like completely blindsided because we've been talking about Cena going heel forever. But it's always been like kind of like, so I wish Cena would go heel. And now it's like, oh, shit, Cena's a bad guy. That was awesome.
He is heel.
That was incredible. Overall, there was the saying, too. There was a lot of shit out there that, like, supposedly Travis Scott busted his eardrum and all this stuff, and Cody refuted that to Conrad. I don't know if you guys heard that, but Conrad was like, no, it's not real. That didn't happen. He did get a black eye, but he doesn't know how. It wasn't from Travis Scott. So I found that interesting. Overall, 10 out of 10 pay-per-view, 10 out of 10 ending. I don't dig The Rock. That's not my guy, but he did a great job. He did his thing. He didn't even ramble as much on Saturday night, which was great. So here we go. We're on the road to WrestleMania. What about you, man? What say you?
So, man, I think the way that they did it, like you said, was awesome. I feel like personally, I think turning John Cena heel for his final run, I feel like. Now, don't get me wrong, it was huge now. It would have been huge then. But I feel like they probably should have just, capitalized with Good Guy John, sold as much merch as you can, and just let him ride off into the sunset.
Yeah.
And I also saw something else online today that is potential, really good take is, did he really go heel or did he just turn himself more babyface? Because some people are going to be more attached to this new heel John Cena, edgier John Cena. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. But, I feel like with them two being as good as they are as far as acting, kind of mid in some movies, but I feel like the way that they needed to do
being the best WWE actor is like saying, hey, I'm the best at playing basketball at my local rec league, which is awesome.
Yes.
Because it's like, we're all actors. We all play, but we're not all really actors. But they are two great John Cena is actually hilarious. I haven't seen all his movies, but he's pretty funny in a lot of them. I thought Ricky Stenicki was really, really funny. It was super weird. And
that was a pretty funny one.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I just think as far as two movie stars in there, I mean, they really acted the part, played the part, did what you had to do to make it feel like this is a movie. This is where the plot changes, and we'll see where we go from here.
Yeah, we're gonna find out. I guess, like I said, it's gonna be a wild ride, man, and I can't wait. They did say almost to the date that he's supposed to come back to SmackDown or Raw or whichever show he's on. I forget what it is. I think it's SmackDown the 17th, right? Yeah. No, 17th is a Raw. He's supposed to come back, and supposedly 20-some-odd years to the day is when he turned babyface. So, like, to the day.
Man.
Yeah, crazy, right? So
that is, dude. And I do feel like you said earlier, I feel like, it is the second biggest swerve because, without Hulk Hogan, you don't get John Cena. We probably don't have any of this. So, I feel like
yeah.
people got to credit, people might hate him due to politics or, whatever. But, we got to credit Hulk Hogan for a lot of the wrestling industry.
And I think that's the crazy thing to think about too is like before Hogan, we didn't. There's always been smart marks and things like that, but like I obviously wasn't alive during the 80s, and I'm sure there was a lot of things. I just, like we talked about previously when I asked you, like, was it better when we didn't know things were booked? When we didn't know it was booking, was it better? Could you imagine if we had no idea that, like, this was even an option? Like, you never talked about, like, guys turning, and you never talked about booking and all this stuff, and, like, then John Cena becomes a heel on TV. Like, holy shit, right? Our minds would have been blown. We'd have been like one of those little kids. I mean, obviously, I don't know if you've seen the reaction videos of these little kids crying.
Oh, yeah.
I just saw one today. I'll send it to you after this. He's like tossing his John Cena shit down the stairs, and the dad's like, hey, it's just a storyline. The kid's tossing, and he's looking at his John Cena doll, and he's like, oh, you can't see me. And he goes and kicks it. I was like, what is happening right now? This is crazy. So I do think it is awesome, and I guess we owe like to everybody before, regardless of what they are as a human being afterwards. Hogan's the shits, right? Whatever, as a person, his beer's even fucking worse. But before, like, what he added to the business is undeniable. There is no discussion, but you know what I mean? It's art versus the person. So it's like I agree. But it's going to be wild.
And to touch back on that a little bit, it just, it's like kind of everything else in the world now. We don't take really anything for face value anymore, whether it's, anything in life or, another TV show. It's like, oh, let me dig into it as far as I can.
Yeah,
to
without
see
just like
what
enjoying it.
Yep, exactly. It's like, let me take this for what it is and, just enjoy it and let it be that.
Yeah. Last question, last piece of this. Your brother asked, y'all think he turns babyface before he retires? Yeah, I mean, I think he goes out on top as a good guy. I think he does some sort of ode to the John Cena good guy thing as the end, and he wasn't heel very long before when he was a heel. When he's a bad guy rapper, when he first started doing it, he wasn't bad guy for very long. Less than a year, I think. So,
and I feel like he really wasn't even a bad guy at that point because I felt like it was something so new. And, you never really seen somebody freestyling on their opponent. And I feel like a lot of people were like, man, this isn't a bad guy. Like, we like this dude.
Dude, that's how he grew. I mean, obviously, at first, he was just, like, shitting on the towns. In Boston, he would wear Yankees stuff. And in, Ohio, he would wear Michigan stuff, whatever it may be.
GP.
Yeah. He was doing it. But he was awesome. That's what I want. I'm very excited to see when he does come back, if it's the same music or if it's different or what they're going to do. Like, I am very interested to see all of this roll out, man. I'm excited for the John Cena train here as it runs through. All right, man, that's a lot of WWE. We talked 48 minutes, and we've talked about WWE for 48 minutes. Think about that. There's so much happening in WWE.
It's 6 days a week, man. We can do more than that. That's what I'm
telling you. They are. Thank God we watch everything. All right. With that being said, man, this weekend, all of that happened last week on WWE. We've got Revolution taking place this Sunday. News out of AEW is they're partnering with Prime, so you can order the pay-per-view on Prime. So I like that. Still on Triller, you can get 2 pay-per-views at a discount. They're like 10% off or 20% off if you buy both of them. So they're still, man, obviously, I love AEW, I love WWE, I love all the stuff. So, like, I'm as excited for Revolution as I was for Elimination Chamber. Is that just me? Maybe. But you're not going to sit here and tell me that y'all saw a graphic of Moxley versus Cope and you didn't get a little excited. Or Ricochet versus Swerve. Or Fletcher versus Ospreay. Or Konosuke Takeshita versus Kenny Omega. Like, all those matches right there alone. They could have only done those 5. I'm already buying it. Doesn't matter. That's the best 5 matches I've ever seen. And now they've got my guy Okada taking on Brody King. You've got Timeless Tony Storm versus Mariah May, which last night they could have only done that promo. Just that promo last night. That pre-tape. And that would have been enough to sell me that this is the best women's match. Then they've got Momo Watanabe versus Mercedes, which is going to be awesome. If you don't know Momo, that's okay too. If you're not like into Joshi wrestling, you don't have to. You don't have to get that part of it. They're going to tell enough of a story in the ring. You're not even going to have to worry about it. Not to mention MJF versus Hangman. I don't know if y'all saw MJF's pre-tape to kick the show off. Unbelievable. That's maybe one of the best pre-tapes he's ever done. And I hate his live stuff. I've said this. I do not like his live stuff. I think it's the shits. Not all the time, but I just don't think it's... His pre-tapes, though, are unmatched. So good. Mind you, I've just named off so many matches that are going to take place, dude. Like, what is happening? Just electric. And so all that to say, man, AEW Revolution, we're going to do a pick 'em. But before we pick 'em, tell me what you're excited. Are you excited about the pay-per-view? You going to order it? What's your thoughts on it?
Oh yeah, I'm pumped about this pay-per-view. I feel like as far as the match card, this is probably, and I mean, it's kind of crazy to think that AEW continues to outdo themselves on these pay-per-views, and this one definitely doesn't look like it's going to be any different.
Right.
I mean, every match you just named right there could be a main event of that pay-per-view, damn near.
Yeah, 1,000%.
So, I mean, that just goes to show it's like the pay-per-view. When you go to an AEW pay-per-view, it's terrible because there's no bathroom breaks. There's nothing. You better run to the bathroom while they're switching the ring or doing something like that. Because you don't want to miss the thing.
While they're showing the hype match that you already know, but you've already seen the hype video, then you can go to the bathroom.
Yep. Yeah. And even that, of course, they do some, but they don't do as much of that type of stuff as WWE. So there's not a lot of time.
Yeah, and it's not like WWE where there's 12 minutes in between matches sometimes.
Exactly. And, this pay-per-view is shaping up to, I'm so excited for Kyle Fletcher and Ospreay in a cage match. I feel like that is going to be probably a contender with KO and Sami Zayn for match of the year.
Yeah, dude, they've got that heat with each other too. And then last night with the chair stuff.
With Davis.
Yeah, with Mark Davis and all that stuff too. You know what's so crazy? I missed one episode of Dynamite when I was in Bradenton earlier this month in February. And I had no idea that Mark Davis even joined the Callis. I missed it and never saw it. I was like, he showed up like a week ago, and I was like, wait, I didn't even know this had happened. What's transpiring right now? Holy shit!
Yeah, that's definitely a weird thing to see if you missed a week or something.
I actually think they're gonna flop him back, and he's gonna feud with Fletcher. Obviously, they teased it a little bit last night, which makes the most sense because they never really got to do that feud yet. So I think that will be cool after the Ospreay one because that's all, United Empire stuff.
Right.
All right, well, let's go through the matches here and do a little pick 'em. First one, Ospreay versus Fletcher in a cage match. Who you got?
Man, I feel like Ospreay. I feel like he doesn't need, of course, neither of them need to L, but I feel like Kyle Fletcher needs the win. I feel like he's continuing to go up. So, give him a win against Ospreay in the cage match. That kind of solidifies him to keep him moving forward.
Sure.
But I feel like Ospreay. I feel like he just regains and comes back. He's one of the best in the world. So
he's also continued to get promo even better too. Like his promos are more succinct and like what he's saying and doing and all that stuff. His entrance is incredible. I'm actually going to go Ospreay here, though. I do think that the Callis family thing, I think what they're going to do is they're going to have Mark Davis get involved, and then that it doesn't hurt Fletcher losing. It allows them to now go to a different feud. I'm going to pick Ospreay on that one. But I am excited. I think that's going to be match of the year candidate, potentially, depending on how they... I feel like AEW's cage looks cool, so I think that'll help, too. And obviously blood is their thing, so it'll be kind of gory and it'll be, physical and all that stuff. So I'm excited about that one. All right, up next is the Rainmaker, Kazuchika Okada versus Brody King. Who you got?
Oh, definitely Okada. I don't see him losing. And it's for the
title. Yeah, for the Continental.
Yeah, and the Continental title, I feel like that needs to be put in a closet and locked away forever.
They got to get rid of a few titles, yeah.
Yeah, and that's nothing to discredit, Okada by any means.
Right.
Definitely one of the best to ever do it. But, there's other titles, and hell, like the TNT title, I haven't even seen that thing in like 2 or 3 weeks
Yeah. Well,
at
because
least.
it's on Collision.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
yeah.
It's on Collision. So Danny Garcia. So it's never
Yeah,
on.
and I
It's
knew
not.
he
Yeah.
had it, but I'm just like,
Yeah. I
where
get it.
where's
No, I
where's
agree
he at?
100%. That's a great question. Uh, MJF. I'm also going Okada. Obviously, I think he's my favorite wrestler, so I'm picking him to win always. MJF versus Hangman. I think this is going to be also potentially match of the year because their feud. I mean, he tried to light the guy on fire last night, and then he got carried out by security, which I thought was really, really funny. I thought they did a great job with that whole thing. I just thought it was really great. MJF versus Hangman. I'm going to go MJF because I just don't think he can afford to lose.
I would agree with that. Yeah, I do think that MJF's going to win, and I think that's been one of the most exciting. I mean, AEW's got a lot of exciting stuff going on right
Sure.
now, but I feel like that is
That
definitely
feud's
one of
been
the most
clutch.
exciting.
That may be the greatest pivot that they've done to date because they pivoted from Jeff Jarrett like pretty quickly. That whole thing with MJF and Jeff Jarrett, like that pivoted like almost immediately. So like I was like, oh okay, yeah, I'm excited about that match too. This one I didn't even mention at the beginning, but the Hurt Syndicate versus the Outrunners, which hilariously I listened to this week's My World with Jeff Jarrett and Conrad kept calling them the Outlanders. And I thought that was so funny. I don't know if that was like an inside joke and I missed it, but he like called them the Outlanders multiple times. So I was like, maybe he doesn't know their names, the Outrunners, but I'm excited about that one. However, I think the Hurt Syndicate, I do think the Outrunners should win, but I don't think they're going to take the titles off the Hurt Syndicate right now.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, they just gave got the titles, the Hurt Syndicate did, and they're kind of on the rise with AEW, and there's no
Yeah.
really reason to take the title off of them right now. But the Outrunners, man, I can't say that I'm too huge on them, but I mean they're popping
They're
right now. They're
entertaining.
all
They're not
over
it's not
social
my
media.
thing either. I get it. It's kind of kitschy. But I get it. It's not really my thing either, but they're kind of everywhere, so good for them. Good for them making it happen.
Yeah.
The oldest young men on the planet. Okay, up next, Mercedes. Let me ask you something. Do you call her Monet or Monet? Is it
Monday?
so I asked in the group chat last night, do you pronounce it like MO-NAY like Monet, or do you pronounce it like Mon MON -A like Canada? Like A, like Monet.
Probably Monet.
Monet. See, I don't
Yeah.
know either. I feel like I've pronounced it both ways. I don't really know. She's fighting Momo Watanabe for the TBS title. I think that for me, Mercedes is like doing a lot to involve a lot of people. She involved Billy Starks the other night. Like she's doing a lot to like get a lot of, and I think she just continues to put on great matches. I'm excited versus her for Momo, but there's not like this didn't have to be on the pay-per-view to a certain extent for me, but I get why it is, and I'm going to go Mercedes.
Yeah, I agree. With both of them, I think Mercedes is going to win, and I do think that it would have, could have been a match on Dynamite, and it would have been completely fine. It could
Yeah,
have been even a little bit of a bigger match on Dynamite, not being overshadowed by some of
sure.
the absolute
Yeah, it's
classics
like
that are about to happen.
how are you gonna compete with these other ones? This is hard to say.
Yeah, and if it was maybe for like one of the Japanese titles that she has, maybe that's possible, but I don't see her taking the
Sure.
TBS championship back
I,
to Japan.
that's kind of where I'm at too. I don't think she leaves with it. Okay, this one's a great one. Swerve versus Ricochet. I'm here to tell. I'll be the first to say it. Ricochet as a personality in WWE, everyone knows this is not like he's not clueless to this. Was dog shit. He did nothing personality wise. His promos were terrible. All he was an in-ring guy, right? He was a seller too. He's a bumping son of a bitch. It wasn't even like he was putting on banger matches. He was bumping, so he bumped for everybody. He, however, has maybe had the greatest turnaround to go from WWE to AEW. He's been elevated. I would say Moxley is number one from like going from one and being elevated, right? Because there hasn't been that many. Obviously, a lot of guys have signed, but they haven't been elevated like that. I would say Ricochet is 1 and 1A with Jon Moxley as being elevated in AEW. And I think that he beats Swerve Strickland.
I hope he beats Swerve Strickland, man. I think Swerve's gonna win, but Ricochet, I'll agree with you. I could give two shits less about Ricochet in WWE, but me personally, I think he is one of the most entertaining things on AEW TV right now. And that contract signing last
It
night,
was hilarious.
it was awesome.
That's my only thing is, can he afford to lose? Obviously, I do think Swerve should be world champ again. Like his run, he wasn't. I think he is the guy. He's great. But I think if Ricochet loses and has to feud with someone else, is he going to be able to do it as good as he was with Swerve if he loses here? Or is it now it's like, oh, he's just another WWE guy who can bump, but he can't do anything. You know what I mean? Like, that's a concern for me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But also,
I feel
should
like
he be in
could
the
get
world?
Lost in the shuffle.
That's where I'm like, should he be in the world title conversation? That was also another question. I'm like, damn, that would be a wild turn of events because it's his first ever time. It would be his first ever time competing for a world title. Even in NXT, he was only North American champion. He never won the NXT title. So, like, think about that. Like, he's just never won a world title that I know of.
I completely forgot about the number one contendership spot on the line.
Right.
So now I'm definitely kind of leaning towards Swerve for some reason.
Yeah, I get it. I'm gonna pick Ricochet just to be a little different there. All right, this next one, Timeless Toni Storm versus Mariah May. I just think that like they could keep fighting. It's almost like Sammy and Kevin. Like that's kind of where they are for me. Like the promo last night, the pre-tape was so good. Toni Storm did such a great job talking at like this thing, and Mariah kept escalating and being like, and the way that they like play off of each other, and I just don't think you see that in WWE for the women's division. Like I haven't seen it, at least that not recently. I think Rhea is the closest thing, but Bianca's not cutting promo like that last night. Like I don't think Rhea is. I know Liv isn't. I know Charlotte maybe, but like I thought that was just top tier. So I am going to go Toni Storm. I do think she beats Mariah twice, which would be cool, but I also think I could see Mariah winning too, which would be kind of cool for her to win again. So like going back and forth for the title, that's kind of sick. I don't know. I'm open to whoever. I am going to pick Toni Storm though.
I'm gonna agree with you. I think Toni Storm is gonna win as well. On the other hand, I really don't get me wrong, I wouldn't mind watching those two feud for like the end of time. But at the same time, I definitely don't want a Sasha and Charlotte, hey, let's pass the belt back and forth type thing.
I guess I didn't think about that. Okay.
I'm really hoping that's not how it is. But like I said, I could watch those two feud till the end of time. I mean, Toni Storm, she's awesome. Mariah May just feeds off of Toni Storm.
Yeah.
I feel like they're probably, of course, best friends, off screen. And I feel like, there's two people in the wrestling industry, and I mean they're hard to their chemistry together, I feel like is hard to match right now.
Sure. That's where I'm at, man. I think, like I said, I just think it's gonna be good. I'm excited about it. All right, second to last is Konosuke, the Alpha Takeshita, taking on Kenny Omega. Man, what an absolute hammer. And it's for the international title, which to me is really the U.S. heavyweight title. This is the second level belt. This is the true second level belt. It is the international title. I think they've elevated it enough now. That's kind of how I feel about it. This, I do think, is going to rival any Kyle Fletcher and Ospreay in a cage is obviously potentially match of the year. Taking that out, potentially match of the year. This may be the greatest non-Tokyo Dome Kenny Omega match of all time. This has the potential to be like that type of thing. I love Takeshita, and I love Omega. I do, however, think Omega's going to win. What about you?
Yeah, dude, I think Omega is definitely going to win too. I mean, with him being out for a while, I feel like maybe not to say anything bad, but like, who's to say how much time we have with Kenny Omega as a full-time wrestler with potential serious health problems, looming in the past.
Yeah.
But I mean, the two of them, those are another group of guys that could wrestle for, an hour and a half and it wouldn't get boring. They could wrestle 100 times, would be better each time that they wrestled.
Yep.
And Takeshita last year at Revolution, I went and saw that, and he fought Ospreay.
Yeah.
And to have these types of matches at
back years, dog. What? Are you kidding me?
Yeah. It's almost starting to seem like Revolution's kind of starting to be like his deal or whatever. Like he's stealing the show every year.
Yeah, that's good stuff. All right, well I'm excited. All right, main event. It's Jon Moxley versus Cope, the Rated R Superstar. This is it for the Death Riders. I do think that this is where they end the Death Riders thing. I don't think it went as the way that they thought it would go. I thought it was good. I think the internet, unfortunately, is a bunch of losers, and that's just kind of how it goes. It is what it is, right? I thought they did a good job. I think the way that they've got to Cope and Cope beating all of the Death Riders, and now it's just Moxley left, I do think it's going to be good. I do think there's going to be a big swerve in the main. Obviously, the thing is, Cope wins, and then Christian cashes in his title thing, and then we've got this whole deal, and then maybe Swerve beats Christian, and now you've got the title changed 4 hands in the time of whatever. I don't know that that's the best way to go. I don't know, but the title changes only bother me if they do it week to week or if Vince Russo wins it. The title change doesn't really kill me. But also, I get what you're saying too. Do we really want to see the hot potato with the world title? But that's the thing, is they have so many guys at the top that they could be at the top. That's the cool thing that I don't think a lot of people talk about AEW is their guys, just the matches that we mentioned, the 5 singles match we mentioned, every single person in all of those matches could be world champion right now.
Absolutely.
Could you say that in WWE? I don't think you can. I think you could say Cena, Cody, you know what I'm saying? I don't think that the list is, I'm just saying from a who could be world champion, the way that they're positioned. I'm not saying WWE doesn't have obviously stars. We're not talking about that. I'm just saying from a positioning standpoint, WWE doesn't position mid-card guys at the top, or guys who can't. So I'm just saying, I don't know if I want to see that. However, Copeland versus Moxley, I do think Cope wins. I think it's the end of the Death Riders, and I think Mox goes away until All In or All Out.
I think I'd like to see Cope win. I think they'll actually pull the trigger on it this time. And especially with how Dynamite went last night, with him not saying a whole lot about Wheeler Yuta, but going through the last final member of the Death Riders.
Yep.
I think that does kind of show that that's the end of them, and I don't think that it went. I don't think that it went too long, but at the same time, I don't think that they also cut it too short.
Yeah, I think it's been a right progression for the story. I think they did a good job with the story, and it got to where it needed to go. That's what I think.
Yeah, and as AEW as a whole, I was thinking last night that it within the past month or two, it's felt like it's really starting to get back to that alternative feel.
Yeah.
Versus trying to copy what WWE's doing.
Yeah.
So all the way around, and the way that Cope's had to eliminate all the Death Riders. I mean, that's a great
I thought that was
there.
A good way to do that. Agreed.
Yeah. And I mean, honestly, when you think about it, you really think it's Jon Moxley of more of a final boss than The Rock. You know what I mean? To get past through all the levels of the Death Riders to get to him. Moxley at the end. So I think they've done really well with it. I
agree. So you picking Cope to win though?
Yeah. And as far as something strange happening at the end, especially if he wins, Christian's coming out.
I think Christian should cash in, and I think Cope should beat him too.
Yeah,
I think that would make the most sense.
Even if he doesn't cash in, I feel like Christian at least pops out there, shows him he's got that contract in his hand, and that he's looming right behind him. So I think it'll be interesting.
Yeah, it's going to be a great pay-per-view, man. Sunday, Revolution, $49.99, depending on where you get it from. Exciting stuff. We've made it all the way, man. This is just a quick question here. We've gone 68 minutes here. We've gone Broadway, as Ric Flair would say. This is the randomizer, though, man. A lot of talk about John Cena being heel. If you could be at either event, whether it be last week's Elimination Chamber or Bash at the Beach 96 to see Hogan's turn, which event would you rather be at live? As you're a fan now, so you're the same age back then as you are now. You're the same thing, same fandom. Which would you rather be at?
I would definitely rather be at Bash at the Beach, and I feel like that's an easy question for me, an easy answer. And the reason being is I feel like that moment right there shaped wrestling into what it is today. Now, don't get me wrong, we're gonna see that clip of John Cena and Cody and The Rock in the ring for years to come. I mean, probably for the rest of time.
Sure.
But I just feel like that played so much more of a pivotal role in how, what we know as wrestling today.
Yeah.
And I feel like what John Cena and The Rock and all them did, I feel like that's not another just another blip on the map, but I feel like it's not going to be as important as what Bash at the Beach was.
Okay. That's a great. So let us know in the chat if you're listening to this. Let us know in the comments, which would you have rather been at, Cena's heel turn or Hogan joining NWO? For me, I'll be honest with you, man. I would have wanted to be at Bash at the Beach just because of the same, it's never been done before type of thing. But however, the cool thing I thought about the main difference about the Cena thing was in a stadium. There's a lot of people there. Like how many, 40,000 or some shit? That was crazy. I also didn't even know it was in a stadium until Friday night. I'll be honest with you. I thought it was just at American Air or at Canada Airlines or Arena. I had no idea that it was even in my mind. I was like,
what stadium was it? Was it Blue Jays?
It's the baseball stadium. Yeah, where the baseball team plays. So this whole time, until I saw Kevin Owens in there, I was like, oh shit, this is about to be like crazy packed. So it was like 38,000 or something like that. That's why I think the only determining is like it would have been really cool to be with 40,000 people seeing that as opposed to like however many were at Bash at the Beach. If you ask Eric Bischoff, I think the numbers probably changed 47 times. That guy's the least self-aware person in the country. But yeah, man,
That's one of the worst takes ever. Worst takes ever. I'll just say that. Eric Bischoff.
What he said? Or me thinking he's
just
not
anything. Just anything.
Yeah, his takes are pretty bad now. Yeah. He's almost a little too polarizing where it's like he's not self-aware of anything. Like I get that obviously NWO was a huge thing and he fought Vince and he did all this stuff, but like he's zero self-awareness that he also didn't save it. He didn't save it. He didn't. I'm not saying he could have, but like he didn't save it. So it's like, you know what I mean? It's a little weird. I don't listen to the podcast anymore. I've listened to it a handful of times, but I haven't listened to it in a long time. But yeah, I just see that stuff and I'm like, whatever. So yeah, that's the only thing. It's like being in a stadium for that to happen was pretty crazy. All right, last question. This is actually my last question. I'm sorry, I do have to ask this. Will Kendrick Lamar show up to Revolution?
I don't. Is there talks of that?
Yeah, today it was, I don't know, some bullshit on Fightful or something, I'm sure. Some cuck freaking dirt sheet writer who had nothing else, put it behind a paywall or some bullshit, which shout out to Jamie Hayter. Jamie Hayter slammed down Sean Ross Sapp, and I have never been more happy in my life. I'm not saying Sean's not a nice. I don't know Sean. I just don't think the dirt sheet paywall bullshit is a good thing. He basically was like, update on Jamie Hayter on Fightful, report available now. And she's like, let me save y'all some money. All it was is I got my visa updated, or I'm trying to get my visa updated and stuff like that. It was, she just like put it out there what it was. And I was like, hell yeah, dog.
Hell yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. But yeah, Kendrick Lamar, man, supposedly I saw it somewhere. I don't know if it's really going to happen, but that's actually hilarious just to have that thought because Drake was at.
I mean, Tony Khan throws around that wallet more than anybody, so
hey, you never know. You can't take it with you, okay? They will not not bury you with the money, I promise. All right. Well, shout out to everybody live on YouTube, man. Thank you for joining. Thanks for chatting with us, Jeff. Thanks for chatting with us. Users, if you guys are listening again, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. We appreciate you if you're listening on iTunes or Spotify. Don't forget to leave us a review and comment. Man, Tyler, we're going to talk about it next. We're actually not going to talk about it next week. I'm off next week. I am out of town in Belrose racing, so I will not be here. But we will be back in 2 weeks to go around the mat. So everybody join us. Thank you so much for our first night on YouTube. Tyler, thanks for joining me, brother.
Yes, sir, man. Thanks for having me. Glad to be here, man.
Until next time when we go around